Hey everyone, as you can tell by the title of this video, I want to talk about my abusive father and domestic violence. A lot of you, those who have talked to me for a few years or even a year or so, know I don't have a good relationship with my father. I mean, there are times where I've had a good relationship, but it's more often than not I don't and didn't. It's unfortunate to those people who say, oh, people will change. No, that's not how abusive people work. Abusive people don't change. And there is people who have gone through the same or similar experience could confirm that abusive people will never change. But I guess and at the same time, I guess I'm not specific with telling them that. The people that think my father will change when he won't. Again, that's how abusive people work. Abusive people won't change. So, obviously I made videos before about why I used to be suicidal as a Jehovah's Witness, and I talk about Jehovah's Witness stuff in relation to that negative experience growing up. And obviously, again, being born and raised in it. 10 years ago, a lot of you know, I didn't have a good relationship with my father, and I never will. But whatever. I remember there was a time where our relationship got really bad, and to the point where I was afraid to really talk to anyone in my family about it, because I knew they wouldn't believe me. Granted, it actually happened because I tried to tell them a few years ago, talk to them about it, think they'd be there for me, but they weren't. But that's their true colors. And I've told my friends, even though I kind of talk about it a lot to my friends about my family, but they understand the ones that are ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. And even some who aren't, but whatever. They get what I went through and stuff like that, and they're there for me when I need it. But anyway, it's unfortunate. I didn't see their true colors back then. And I didn't tell them that my dad was abusive to me, both physically and emotionally. And it's unfortunate. They play it as a non-harmful thing or whatever. I remember one of my friends told the police for me, and the police said that I should have called them when my dad was abusing me. But again, I was too afraid. I was afraid I'd lose something I thought I was close to, which was, my family. I thought I was close to my family. But again, like I said, I didn't see their true colors back then. I was vulnerable, I guess, in a sense, to a degree. So I kept a lot of those feelings because I knew they wouldn't believe me. And granted, I was right, because a few years ago, I would try to talk to my family again, and they just laughed it off like it was no big deal. Like, it wasn't bad that I was being physically and emotionally abused by my father. See, how this vicious cycle works is it's kind of genetic, really. My dad's dad was abusive. My dad was abusive, and he passed it on to me. And, well, his kids, obviously. So, again, that's a vicious cycle. It continues. The verbal and physical abuse continues. There's no stopping ground, no stopping point to it. It continues. And that's what, unfortunately, my family didn't get. They didn't think it was a serious matter. When men get abused just as much as women do. I mean, granted, women are more abused often by their partner or family more than men do, but again, it's starting to become a more common thing that men are getting just as abused as women are. I think it's about 1 in 18 men that get abused by the person they're close to or think they're close to, but are too afraid to speak up because they're afraid they'll lose something. or whoever they're with, or whoever they live with, or whatever you want to call it. Like I said, I thought I was too afraid when the police wanted to take me away or whatever. I was too afraid to agree to it because, like I said, I thought at the time I was close to my family, which, again, granted, like I said, I was wrong. Like I thought and knew. I could have probably been put in a better position, but again, I was too afraid. I should have spoke up when I did and not let it affect me and not care. It would have gotten me away from the situation I was living in. And it's unfortunate my own father won't admit that to me or to anyone in the family that he was abusive to me. And like I said, when I told my family, and being gone now that I am and have been, again, they didn't believe me. And that shows their true colors right there. It sucks when you're born in a small town and there's stuff like that happens. I mean, I know it happens everywhere, but I'm just saying for my sake anyway, it sucks that people like me go through this kind of abuse and isn't taken literal and isn't taken serious as it should be for men who are just as abused as women are. If men are getting abused and think they're going to lose something, they should just be able to freely speak up. If they're in a financial and good situation that they're in, they should be able to just speak up without hesitation. Get them away, at least until they can get back on their feet or whatever. They should be able to get away from that and not have to deal with it every day. Let it keep feeding into that negative behavior where it keeps happening over and over again. It shouldn't have to be that way. But like I said, some people who are too afraid to report it, it's because they're afraid they'll lose something that they think they're close to. And they can't let it go, I guess. Yeah. They can't let go of what they're afraid of losing. And that was for me and my family. Like I said, when my dad was physically and emotionally abusive to me, I couldn't speak up to anyone in my family about it. I told my friends, obviously, like I just said, but I should have spoke up. But I didn't see their true colors, and I wish I would have 10 years ago. And that would have not been such a big problem, I guess. I don't know, but it's whatever now. I've been, like I said, gone for almost 6 years now. I'm happier where I'm at, and life really does get better if you leave a negative environment. And especially if people aren't going to be honest with themselves, and they're definitely not going to be honest with the people around them about how they are and how they act and who they are and stuff like that. They're not going to ever be honest with them, again, mainly with themselves. And they're never going to live a fulfillment of a happy life of who they want to be and who they are. As long as they're not harming anyone, they're never going to be able to live to that expectation. Again, like myself, true happiness comes from within. It doesn't come from what a religious cult says or tells you how to live a certain lifestyle. Who you can and can't be, what you can and can't be, you can't do this, can't do that. That's not what that's not true happiness right there. That's not true happiness. But that's what I want to talk about. Granted, like I said, now I'm seeing that domestic violence in men is starting to become a more common thing. I guess I can finally say I'm finally speaking up to people that understand and listen and know what it feels like to live through domestic violence. It doesn't have to be sexual to be domestic violence. Physical and emotional abuse is just as bad, sometimes even worse. Even, obviously, emotional abuse is even worse than both of them, but I'm just saying, that's what I'm leaving it. At least that's what certain people tell me, is that even emotional abuse is worse than physical and sexual abuse. But like I said, for me it was physical and emotional abuse. So that's what I wanted to leave. Granted, seeing that I could finally speak up about something I was too afraid to do, I wish I could have, but I am where I am now. I'm much happier. I found my own true happiness. That's what matters the most, is that I'm in a better place than I was. So that's what I wanted to leave with this video. Like I said, I didn't think I could do this, and now that I did, I feel a lot better talking about it on camera to people that have gone through the same or similar experience. I mean, I wanted to when I was younger, but again, I was too afraid to. Too afraid to think I'd lose something close to me. But you know what? It doesn't matter now. Talking about it on camera to people, again, who have gone through the same or similar experience is a great feeling, seeing that people are able to tell me that they've gone through it too, as well, the same struggles or similar. It's sometimes bottling stuff up is never good. It does more damage than good. And I wish I would have, but it is what it is now. And like I said, I'm much happier where I am. So that's all I wanted to leave in this video for today. Talk about what it's like that men are just as much of a victim of abuse physically. It can be physical and emotional. Doesn't have to be sexual. And should be taken more seriously. Speaking up about this as a male myself that was a victim of abuse by my own father. That's what I wanted to leave for this video. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.